Hello friends, this is Sanjay Banwal. Sometimes back I had published one video on auditing in SAP ERP environment and many people commented that the voice quality was not very good and they requested to republish this video as it's very important and the contents were liked by everyone. So here it is, I am republishing it with a better audio quality. So the objective, this video I had created based on the workshop I had conducted for the CA's fraternity in WIRC. So the objective was to provide the participants with an overview of general SAP concepts and learn how to obtain usable data from SAP. So these were the agenda items. So introduction to SAP, what are the common questions an auditor may have during the audit, what is a SAP system architecture. So you can see that all these topics are very important for an auditor, because normally if you see the chartered accountants, they are not very familiar with SAP world, how it is configured, how to access the details there, and they struggle a lot. So I'm trying to give you a very basic level as well as some detailed and understanding how SAP is designed, how you as an auditor can use it to your best advantage. Covering all these different topics. So I'll be talking on the SAP org structures, what are different SAP modules, how to review the roles and authorizations, likewise then SAP tables. Another important point I felt was in-house developed programs and tables. So how do you audit that? What are the different reporting available for you as an auditor? How you can download SAP report into Excel. Then you get a report from SAP, standard SAP, and can you modify that? So how you can do that, add or remove certain fields. Then I will be specifically talking on the procure to pay P2P process flow and how you can as an auditor do the audit in a better way. I'll also be talking on the release strategy, workflow, likewise master data and all. So guys, let's start. So introduction to SAP. So SAP stands for Systems, Applications and Products in Data Processing. You would have heard SAP R3, SAP ECC, and now SAP S4HANA is the latest. So SAP R3 is one of the main product of SAP, and where R stands for real time and 3 stands for 3-tier application structure. So SAP is the world's leading ERP software company, and as you can see with the statistics, more than 183,000 customers in 130 plus countries use SAP applications. 80% of Fortune 500 companies are using one or the other SAP applications. So what are the common questions normally you have when you go for SAP audit? So one of the most important most important question you as an auditor think like, how do I operate this complex IT system? How do I generate the information from this SAP on my own and which will meet my requirement? Where do I focus? Because the data volume has gone up so much in SAP world. How do I get the relevant information which will meet my requirement? How do I download the data from SAP to my personal computer? So I'll try to answer to some of these questions and something more as well during this video. So let's talk about SAP system architecture. So SAP has got 3 layers of architecture, and it is called dev, quality and production server. So normally all the transactions which you will be auditing will be part of your production system. So you should check like okay, everything is in the when you have got the access, is it production or quality or dev. Development server is the one where technical team do all their developments, configuration, and etc. Quality server is used for testing of the solution by the business end user. And finally, production server. So once testing is confirmed, then data moves to production server. See, this is the basic SAP architecture. So as you can see, SAP uses sub-ledger concept. In normal legacy system, you had accounts receivable, accounts payable, all these as standalone system. But when it comes to SAP, it is called ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. So all these ledger, materials management, inventory, sales, finance, all these goes to general ledger. All these are treated as a sub ledger. Okay, let's understand some SAP lingo. When you go to audit for one SAP client, so you will hear like which account type you want to have, what is the document type. So then you will also hear like posting date, document date, entry date. So what are these different lingos? So see, account type basically represent in SAP, as you can see, there are 5 account types: customer, vendor, GL, assets, and material. And all the transactions happen around these 5 account types only. Document type identifies that document type tells you the nature of transactions. So for example, there could be a document type for invoice posting, another document type for JV posting. In invoice posting, you may have different document types for customer invoice, vendor invoice. So document type is used to post transactions in SAP using some configurations. Then you have posting date, document date, and entry date. So there are 3 main dates captured in SAP. Entry date represents the system date. So the date when something has been entered in some transactions have been entered. Document date normally will be your invoice date or purchase order date if you have received some documents from outside. So that represent your document date. Posting date is the date which a user will enter, and that will get posted so posting date represents the transactions where your accounting journals are happening, or I would say when you want to see like a trial balance. So posting date helps you to generate the trial balance for a particular period. So if you want to see like okay, all the transactions which have been posted on 31st March, but after 31st March they were posted. So you should be using entry date with combination of posting date. So entry date, you can say okay, all transactions which are greater than entered after 31st March, but having posting date of 31st March. Likewise. Similarly, you have posting key. Posting key identifies debit and credit to an account type. Special GL indicator is another terminology in SAP. So it identifies some special type of transaction. For example, advance payment received from customer or vendor. Then you have open item. Open item is mainly used for the sub ledgers. So when you have a customer vendor accounts, so there you will be having the open item transactions. So for example, you received invoice from a vendor. So invoice is treated as an open item. When you make the payment against that invoice, that item is called as a cleared item. Then you have goods movement types. So there are different types of movement in under inventory. When you receive material, so there will be one movement type, it is called 101. When you issue materials to a cost center, so then another movement type 201, for example. So likewise, so goods movement identifies movement of goods from one process to another or one location to another. Sub-ledger, like as I said, so customer, vendor, assets, these are all sub-ledgers in SAP. Then you have a cost object. So there are different cost objects on which is used for the management reporting purpose, like cost center, internal order, project system. These are all different types of cost objects. I have just combined one chart for your ease reference. So as you can see, this is having a document type and posting key, debit and credit, and reversal type. These are the standard settings in SAP. So if you have vendor invoice booking but without a purchase order, then normally you will be using document type KR with posting key debit 40 and credit 31. If it is a PO based invoice, then you might be using document type RE, and in posting key will be 86 and 31. 86 is for the inventory posting, GRIR posting. Likewise, you can see customer invoice booking. So DR document type 01 for debiting the customer and 50 for crediting the GL account. Similarly, payment to customer, receipt from vendor, like when you make the vendor invoice payment, you may be using ZP document type or KZ document type. So ZP is normally used for automatic payment. When you are having a JV type of transaction, document type is SA. This is a very important document type. You should be having a lots of eyes on that. So document type SA with posting keys 40 and 50. Let's talk about SAP organization structure. This is a typical organization structure set up in SAP. So client is the foremost important component of an org structure, and when you log into SAP, you will always be logging into a client. So this is like you should be knowing what client you are logging in, and within the client then you will be doing all these setup. So as you can see, purchase org, controlling area, chart of depreciation, these are all connected to a company code, chart of accounts, credit control area, sales organization. Purchasing organization is used for making the procurement related transaction. Controlling area is used for your cost center, profit center related activities, project systems related activities. Chart of depreciation is used for your asset accounting related transactions. Chart of accounts is your GL account. Credit control area is used for credit management in SAP. And sales org for your revenue related. Within the sales org, then you will also be having another element called distribution channel and division. Together these three make up a sales area. So whenever you will see sales order or billing document, you will have a combination of all these three. Then you will have also having a term called plant. Plant is the place where you maintain your inventory, you have your operations. So one company code can have n number of plants. Plant is assigned to purchasing organization and sales organization. Then from the controlling area perspective, you will also be having a profit center hierarchy, cost center hierarchy, and within the profit center hierarchy, you will be creating an individual profit center, and within the cost center hierarchy, you will create cost center. Cost center is then assigned to a profit center. So a profit center can be assigned to n number of cost center. And again, profit center and cost center, all these are linked to a company code, and company code is then assigned to controlling area. Within the fixed assets org structure, you will see it starts with the chart of depreciation. Then you will have different types of assets class. For example, vehicles, building, these are all called asset class in SAP. And those asset class are linked to GL account through account determination. You see the GL accounts, which is again linked to your chart of accounts, and chart of accounts is again linked to company code. Chart of depreciation is also linked to a company code. Now let's understand what are the different SAP modules you may be having within a client. So you see this is an old picture. Now we have got S4HANA and all. So but many clients are still using SAP ECC. So and modules still remain same. So as you can see, FI, financial accounting, CO, controlling, asset management, BW, SD, sales distribution, materials management, production planning, quality management. So these are broad level of your modules. Then you may be having some special module like joint venture accounting, for example, or if it's a real estate, then REFX, real estate flexible management. Now let's see what are the sub modules within a particularly within a module in SAP. So for example, finance and controlling, when we talk, so it contains GL, accounts payable, accounts receivable, bank account, budgeting, cash management, asset accounting, treasury management. Treasury management, though it's coming under financial supply chain management, but just for the sake of understanding, I have put it under FICO. Cost center accounting, product costing, profitability analysis, project systems, internal order. So all these are broadly under finance and controlling module. Within the materials management, you have purchasing, inventory management, MRP, which is a material resource planning, warehouse management, then you have invoice verification, vendor evaluation. Under sales and distribution, you have sales order, shipping and transportation, billing, credit control, and bill of material is applicable for your even because bill of material is comes when you have product costing against your make to order scenario. Then you have human resources HR module. Within that, you may be having organization management, personnel administration, recruitment, payroll, travel management, personnel management, time management. So these are all different sub modules. Let's move on. Now let's talk about roles and authorizations. So roles and authorizations allow the users to access SAP standard as well as custom transactions. And SAP provides certain set of generic standard role for different modules and different scenarios. So what happens, SAP will give you some standard role, and then you need to normally clients modify those standard role and create a custom role. You're taking help of those standard role and assign to their users. So validation of roles and authorization is a major challenge for auditors in order to ensure proper segregation of duties. I'll be talking on the segregation of duties in a great length later on. So let's understand how the roles and authorization works. So if you see the SAP, this is a concept, SAP authorization concept. How does it work? So you have SAP user master record. So first you create a SAP user. Then you have profiles which contains lots of different authorizations. Within the profile and role, we have authorization object. So this contains, for example, you have a company code. So company code is called one authorization object. So you say that, okay, person X should be given authorization for company ABC only. Or if you have 10 company, he should be given authorization for two companies. So using authorization object, you can restrict the user access. And within the authorization field values, so using the authorization object and field values, you assign like whether he should be having display access only for that particular company or create and change access. Field values allow you to do that. Then roles contain transaction codes and authorizations, which is mapped to one profile and user assignments. This is a typical SAP roles creation screen. As you can see, here we have different activities. This is your object and the activity 01, 02, 03. So you can say that okay, for particular this transaction, give only display or create or change or delete everything you want to give. Now let's talk about SWIM transaction, SUIM. SWIM is a very powerful tool, and this I tell you from my experience. I use SWIM a lot to do the analysis. If you want to check a specific user, what type of access he has, you can get it. If you want to check a transaction code or role assigned to a specific user or all users, you can get. If you want to see like what type of changes have been made in roles of a user, that also you can get. It's a very, very powerful tool in SAP. This is a typical SWIM screen. So you can see these are the different options you have. Where you can manipulate your requirements to check it. So you can check by role name, by user assignment within the roles. Under user, you can check for a particular user what roles he has. Authorization object level you can check. Okay, now let's talk about segregation of duties. What is SOD? SOD is the concept of having more than one person required to complete a task. So what it signifies, like you want to have a 4 eyes check. So if a person is processing invoice, you want to have one person park it, another person post it, or you want to say that okay, if a person is having a vendor master data creation, he should not be having access to make payment. So basically you want to segregate the authorizations to more than one person. Risk, if you don't have the proper SOD in your company: misappropriation of assets, misstated financial statements, improper use of funds or modification of data, and fraud. All these will lead to fraud. So this is a bit funny screen. So how the SOD challenges for the IT team. So your users will say, I want the SAP all, I need this transaction access immediately, and your security and controls team will be scratching their head. Auditors will say, why there are so many violations. So okay, let's talk about some examples of segregation of duties. So these are, I have just highlighted few of them. There are lots of transactions you can think of and add in your list, and then you can check whether those are available in your client or not. So for example, if we see case 1, if a person is having create vendor master data transaction as well as post automatic payment, that in bracket I have written transaction codes as well. For example, XK01, FK01, then with F110. So you are creating a SOD violation risk. In case 2, I am saying a person is having purchase order creation and also he does the goods receipt for the PO. Third case, I am saying same person not only creates PO and does goods receipt, but he also does the vendor invoice. So it's a big violation. Likewise, so you have a case 5 post JV, and the person is also having access to open posting period. So it's a risk. Suppose your period has been closed, and now a person has some bad intention. He will open the posting period and pass certain JV in the previous period, closed period. You will not be able to know that if you have given both the access to the same person. Another is like you create a requisition, you create a PO, and you also receive the goods. So all things are done by one person only. So these are some typical examples of SOD violations which should not be there. Okay, now let's talk about what are the critical access which should never be given to a user in production system. So SAP profile, SAP all, SAP underscore all, or SAP underscore new. These two profiles should never ever given to a user in production system. And it can be any user. It does not matter whether it's a business user or IT. Even IT support also should never have this profile. This, if you have access to these two profiles, you can do anything in SAP. You can delete the data from the table. So it's highly risky authorization to be given. Similarly, debug. So debug is an object which should never be given with 01 and 02. If some development is some debugging or some analysis is required, user should be given access with value 03 only. Here also, using debug, if you have given the person access with 01 and 02, he can do any modification and it will not be having any trace. Now let's talk about what access request as an auditor you can ask for in SAP. So these are the standard profiles you can ask your business users to give you. A underscore ANZ. This will allow you to display for authorization for all types of fixed assets related transactions. F underscore ANZ is for display authorizations for GL related transactions. M underscore ANZ is for materials and logistics related. And S underscore A dot show is for display authorizations for all the basis module, like I'll be talking about stream or AC16, which is to view the table, AC38 to view the report, likewise. Now let's talk about SAP tables. SAP tables must, as we know, SAP has the data in SAP are two types, master data and transactions data, and these data are stored in different tables of SAP. It's very good if you know some important tables in SAP. It will help you in doing your audit in a more efficient way. To access SAP table, you will need authorization for AC16 or AC16N transaction. These are some of the important SAP tables which an auditor you should be knowing. USR01 or USR03. This gives you the detail of user master with their address view. First one is for user master, and USR03 gives you address view. UST04 gives you user with their profile, like whether you want to check whether a person is having SAP underscore all. So you go to UST04 and you just execute. It will give you the detail. Then these are some other additional tables. T000, it tells you which client you are in, how many company codes are created in the client. Then this is another one for document types. GL account groups, T077S. So T012 is for house banks. BNK is for the bank master data. SK1 is for the GL account at the chart of accounts level. SKB1 is for the GL accounts at the company code level. Similarly, you have KNA1 customer master, KNB1 company code related information for the customer master. LFA1 vendor master and LFB1 for company code related vendor master. LFB5 is to see the dunning related information. For the accounting documents related table, most important is BKPF, BSEG. And in S4HANA, you have ACDOCA. I'll publish one video separately on S4HANA later on. So then you have for payment related information, if you want to check, you can use REGUH or REGUP. Likewise, for purchase order related table, you can see you have EKKO, EKPO, and material master record is MARA. If you want to see the exchange rate related information, you can go to TICA table. Here it will show you when the exchange rate was entered in the system and who had updated the exchange rates. Now let's understand how do we analyze the data from tables. As I mentioned, SC16 is used to analyze your SAP tables. So let's evaluate how many people are having SAP underscore all profile. So as I mentioned earlier, use the table UST04. So once you execute this table with the profile SAP underscore all, it will give you how many people are having this SAP all profile. Now what you can do, copy all those user IDs and then go to table LFA1 and see whether any of these users have created vendor master record. You can enter in the created by field the names which you have got from UST04. And as you can see, lot of master data were created by the person who had SAP all profile. Now let's go to GL table and see whether the GL is also created by these people. Yes, these people have created GL account as well. So same person created vendor, same person created GL as well. Now let's see whether any accounting document has been posted by that those people. Yes. So for that you go to BKPF and enter the user IDs which you copied from UST04. Yeah. So likewise, even you can see in EKKO table whether these users have created any purchase order. You can check for the sales order whether these users have created any sales order also. So I'm just giving you some ideas how you can do the analysis of person having SAP all access and whether that person has done any transactions in SAP or not. So it's a very big critical violations, So what I'm concluding here is the users who had SAP all have not only created all types of master data but also posted transactions. So this is a big risk for an audit, right? Now let's talk about in-house developed programs and tables. So many times client has got a requirement. They do in-house development for customizing the program because standard SAP does not meet their requirements. However, it's very important that the custom developed programs has got the, proper control and it because it follows the company's policies. So if the program has been developed and does not have a proper compliance and transparency, then it will be a major weaknesses and it will take a lot of time for you to correct it. So how do we check the in-house developed programs? So first let's get the list of all the custom developed programs and then you can look for whether the program has got proper description, titles. For you can also look for whether there are programs with the name test program in the production system. Give a very focused approach on this one. So if there are some programs having a test names. So check why the test related names are there. Then another one is program with critical function like delete or remove. So if there are certain programs which are created to delete or remove certain transactions, so you should check that why these have been created and who have access to that. You can generate a list of all the custom developed program on your own by going to transaction code SA38 and entering YA and ZZ in the selection screen option. This report you can also generate using SAP table TRDIR. So I'm giving you both the screen. So in TRDIR, if you execute, you will get all the list of custom program, and here again you enter YA and ZZ. Once you have generated the program list, you can also check like whether the program is having some problem or not. So use transaction code SA38 and you can check for its functionality. Yeah, some SAP gives you option also to write some documentation. So you can click on this documentation button and you can display what this program is for. Similar to in-house developed program, many companies also create custom tables to store values from those custom developed programs. So you also need to get a list of all these custom tables, and this you can do by going to AC16 and entering Y and ZZ, Y to Z in selection screen. Another important point to understand here is in the custom table that you should check whether someone is having access to these custom tables. If someone is having access to these custom table, then it must be justified, because normally in production system people should not be having access to the tables for modifying or deleting or adding values. Also, another important point to consider is whether these tables have been activated for logging of changes. This you can check using table DD09L, and in this table you will have a log field. So you can check whether the field log has been enabled. See, this is how you can check. So these are the custom tables, and whether the log is enabled, this column you can see here. So for some of them log has been enabled, for some of them it's not enabled. So you can ask client why the log is not enabled, please enable it. Let's talk about reporting. So in SAP you have SAP report is an executable program that reads data from the database and generates output based on the filter criteria selected by the user. So there are three categories of reports you will have in SAP. One is standard SAP reports, then custom reports developed in-house by your client, and some ad hoc queries. So I am just giving you some standard reports which are very useful from an auditor perspective. So MCTA, T-code MCTA, and here you can see customer analysis. So in this report you can have a lot of interesting information. It shows you incoming order, sales and all. Then another is MB5L, list of stock values. So in this report you can see you can compare like GL account and inventory value. So with each GL corresponding value and what amount you have in the inventory module. This is a very important transaction MB5L to see if there is any variance between your inventory module and GL account. This can happen if some transactions have been posted directly to your GL account without going through the inventory module. This S underscore ALR 870119664. This transaction is to view the asset balances asset class wise. So here you can see asset class, building WIP, and then you have acquisition value, accumulated depreciation, and book value. Another asset related transaction is S underscore ALR underscore 8701190 asset history sheet. So it gives you more information on the asset history. What was the depreciation accumulated one and for the current year. Then if there is any addition or deletion, all those information you can have it here. This is another asset related report. Posted depreciation by asset and posting period. S underscore P99 underscore 410000192. So here you can see asset number, period, amount posted. So in this report you can check whether depreciation has been posted for all the assets and for all periods. These are other some additional asset related reports you may be interested to look into. This is a very interesting transaction, FCHN, check register. So you would like to know, like, the check which has who are the vendors to whom the check was issued. That type of information you can have. Another transaction is S underscore ALR underscore 870123449. So here you can check outstanding check against a GL account and vendor. So you have issued the check, but it has not yet been reconciled through your bank reconciliation. So in this case, you can compare and ask for why it is pending for so long. List of down payments open on key date. So you can check like what are the down payments given to vendor and they have not yet been adjusted for long time. Using this transaction S underscore ALR 870121105. Then GL account balances transaction. So this it will show you like it's a more sort of your trial balance type of report. These are other very useful SAP reports which you may be you may try. F.01 is to give you financial statement for the company. FBL3 and GL line item report. FBL1 and vendor line item report. FK10 and vendor balances. Here you can also check total purchases made against a vendor. Likewise, some of the other interesting report is MMBE, stock overview report. So in this transaction you can see stock for a particular material. MB51 is very good analysis related report for inventory. So it shows you all the inventory related documents posted for a selection period. ME2L is for PO related display report. CK13N is to display material cost estimate. So if your client is using product costing, so and you want to see how the cost has been calculated for a particular material, you can use CK13N. If you want to analyze BOM, you can go to CS03. Employee master data, if you want to view, you can go to PA20. Now let's talk about how to download SAP report into Excel. So many times I have heard like people struggle how to download a report into Excel from SAP. So let me show you there are two ways. One is like once you execute the transaction, you can go to system, list, save and local file. And sometimes SAP also gives you another option. If you click here, list, export spreadsheet, and then you give the name and the path, so it will download directly to that path in Excel. Now let's talk about how to add or remove field from SAP report layout. SAP layout management is very useful in meeting your different requirement. So if you want to see like all the vendors for a particular city, or all the vendors having a payment term of say pay immediately. So there are different options you have here. If you click on this these three button you see, right, so these are called layout. So you can change the layout by selecting the field and using these arrow button. So select one field, for example posting key. So select the posting key and click on this arrow button, so it will come to your layout, and then you can save it. Once it has been you have got the report layout as per your requirement, you click on this save button, so it will be saved, and you can default it also. So next time you don't need to again generate this report, generate this layout. Now let's talk about SAP process flow for P2P, procure to pay. Procure to pay starts from the determination of requirement. So there will be one requisitioner who will raise a purchase requisition. Then based on that requirement, source will be determined, and then vendor will be selected. Once that is done, then PO processing is start. After PO has been released to the vendor, goods receipt will happen and invoice verification is done, and finally payment will be made. So this is the complete procure to pay process. How the accounting happens: once the purchase order is created, at that time you will not have any FI document. However, when the goods receipt is made, you will see two documents. One is called material document and another is FI document. So you will have material account debit and GRIR account credit. You can see this table. Once you receive the invoice, it's a three-way match. So invoice time also you will have two document getting created. One is a document and another is FI document. And at this time you will be debiting your GRIR and crediting your vendor. So in procure to pay, let's see what are the different points as an auditor you need to consider. So see, there are different aspects of procure to pay audit. So one is called tolerances. So when I'm creating a PO, I do the GR and I do the IR. So there are different types of tolerances available. One is called quantity related tolerance, price variation related tolerance. So you can check whether the quantity and price variation related tolerances have been set up as per the company policy or not. I'll be talking more on this in the next slide. Invoice blocking and its release. So when the invoice is posted beyond the tolerance, so how does it get released? Direct posting to GL account in Miro transaction. This is a bypassing of your tolerances. PO release strategy. So how the PO release strategy has been configured in SAP system, and does it meet your company's policy? Duplicate invoice posting control. So does your client please check whether the client has configured duplicate invoice posting with error or warning. And these are some of the important tables to check with respect to PO, GR and invoices. EKKO, EKPO, BKPF and BSEG. So let's see the tolerance for quantity and price verification. So normally you will have some tolerances defined, say for example 5% tolerance or 200 rupees. So you will say that okay, rupees or dollar, whatever is your company code currency. So when you see this table, you can check it using table 169G. What you should ask for is what is your policy for these tolerances and whether configuration is done as per that company's policy. invoice blocking and its release. So SAP allows you to block an invoice for payment if that invoice has been posted beyond the tolerances you have defined. So once invoice has been blocked, then someone has to use transaction MRBR to release the invoices, blocked invoices. So as an auditor, you can check who has the access to this transaction MRBR and whether it is as per the policy of the company. So this is a typical screen of MRBR. You can see release automatically. The person will select the line item which are blocked and click execute. So invoice will be released. So it's very important to see who has access to MRBR. Direct posting to GL account in Miro transaction. In order to bypass tolerances set up in system, users can post differential amount in an invoice with reference to goods receipt and a PO directly to a GL account in Miro transaction. So SAP has given you this option. So if it gets activated, direct posting to GL account, a user can post direct amount in this section, and it does not check the tolerances. So it's a very bad it's not a good thing to have. However, there may be some business reason and you should ask for justification why this has been activated, and check with management if management has approved it. So you can see this tab, GL account tab has come. So this GL account tab gets populated once you activate direct posting to GL account and material account. So there are two tabs, GL account and material account. Duplicate invoice posting control, error or warning. SAP allows you to have duplicate invoice posting control, and you can have it, you can set your system to throw error message. By default, SAP gives a warning message. This setup is done based on certain criteria like vendor, invoice date, currency, invoice amount. Duplicate invoice setup you can achieve by configuring your system and selecting check double invoice field in vendor master record. So we can ask our client whether they have done the duplicate invoice check configuration in the system or not, and whether that configuration is for error message or warning message. So this is a transaction OMRDC. Here you can check whether the configuration is there for that particular company code or not. And in the vendor master, you will have check double invoices. You can go to this transaction code. Now let's talk about release strategy. SAP release strategy defines the approval process for PR, contract, purchase order, loans, fixed deposit, etc. So you can define your release strategy for any of these transactions, and there are lots of other transactions. Release strategy uses release codes, and you need to define in the sequence in which these release need to be effected. And SAP release strategy should be configured based on your company's table of financial authority policy. So you should ask your client policy for release strategy and then check whether the configuration is done as per that policy or not. Then you should also check whether the release codes have been assigned to those people who are authorized to release these documents as per the policy or not. Release strategies are stored in these two tables, T16FS and T16FT. So this is the screen, one typical screen of T16FS. You can see these are the codes and this is the release group, release strategy, and it tells you the amount range. And these are the different codes. T16FT is your descriptions of release strategy. So within this group, and what are the amount should be assigned for this particular release strategy. and you can see this D6 release strategy, the total net order value, purchasing group you can assign, and document type. So when a person is creating a purchase order, which document type you want to have and for which company code this release strategy should apply. Typical PO release screen you can see here. So how the sequence, these are the different release code. So this will be assigned to the purchasing assistant and he has released, then you have purchasing manager, then general manager. Workflow. So SAP workflow ensures the right work is brought in the right sequence at the right time to the right people. It is a tool designed to facilitate and automate business processes that require tasks to be performed by people. SAP workflow enhances release strategy in automating the approval process in SAP. So we understood release strategy. Now, if you have SAP workflow configured in your client place, system will automatically sends the release related information to that person's inbox. So this is a typical workflow related screen you will see. Now let's talk about SAP automatic account determination. For every goods movement created for evaluated material, SAP creates two types of accounting documents, a material document and an accounting document. SAP system follows the accounting principle that for every material movement there is a corresponding document that provides details of that movement. So basically for you to understand automatic account determination, so whenever you have any material related transactions, for example goods receipt, goods issues, or price difference posting, so all these are configured in SAP system and they are configured using three major elements: valuation class, transaction key, and then finally GL account you assign. Valuation class is a key to group materials with the same account determination. So you will assign all the same type of material to a one valuation class, and then that valuation class will be assigned to a GL account. Transaction key identifies the type of transactions which you will be configuring in the inventory module for the automatic account determination. So together with valuation class and transaction key, then you assign the GL account. So you will assign the GL account to transaction key and valuation class. Once it is done, then system will automatically post the transactions when you do the goods receipt or goods issue. Likewise, as an auditor, we should take details of all the GLs which have been set for automatic account determination. For that, you can ask for, you can go to the table T030, and here you can see for this chart of accounts, these are the transaction key I mentioned, right? So, and then you have the valuation class, and these are the GL accounts. So you can check whether the inventory or RM consumption GL, what are those GL account, and check whether the entries are happening as per the configuration or not. You can also check whether all these GL accounts have been marked for post automatically only or not in transaction FS00, as there should not be any manual posting to these GL accounts. Now let's talk about master data. As we had earlier discussed, in SAP transactions data are stored as master data or transactional data. Master data is the core data that is used as a base for any transaction. If you are doing any production or you are doing transferring stock, selling, purchasing, doing physical inventory, payment, receipt, whatever your activity you are doing, it will require some master data to be maintained. So the example of master data like GL, cost center, profit center, customer, vendor, banks, assets. These are all master data under finance module. Materials, storage bins, warehouse, pricing, condition, info record, BOM, routing, work center. These are all master data under your logistics module. Then employee personal data, payroll data, info types are under HR module. So I have listed SAP transactions to view the master data in SAP. So FS00 you can use to view the GL master data, XK03 to view the vendor master, KO03 to view internal order master data. Likewise, you have FD33 to view the customer credit management, AS03 for asset master viewing. Likewise, similarly MM03 you can use to view the materials. For if you want to check BOM, you can use CS03. If you want to see the projects or WBS, you can go to CJ20N. BP is for the business partner. In S4HANA, business partner is the primary master object for the customer, vendor, banks, etc. So that was the last slide, and I hope this will help you in carrying out your audit assignments in a much better way. Let me know your views. Thank you so much.